Good evening, guys. So today I didn't train kickboxing today because yesterday I had my swab test and my result was negative. And this is not the first time that I did my swab test. So I'll tell you more of the story. Okay, so this wasn't the first time I had my swab test. This started on March 31 where I had my first swab test. So the one that I went through is just home service. This is called Xenia. So I'm not alone doing this. So it's me and my stepsister first at the first day of my swab test. I never got swab test in the whole of my life when the pandemic came here. So on March 31, when I got my swab test, I felt that it was, ticklish. But then I got used to it. I had to breathe, and after that, I had to hold my breath for just a few seconds until the swab is done. Well, that feeling was the cotton bud going throughout the nose, touching the bone of my nose, or maybe somewhere between the nose and near the bone of my eye. I don't know which part, but it's somewhere in my nose. So it was not just in one side, but in Xenia it was done two-side, a two-sided thing. So after that, I got my results very quickly, and I got negative on the result. So that's my first time where I got my swab test. Now months go by, and it's already Friday. So I'm going to tell you what happened yesterday. So I just woke up and I saw my mom's text, that we're going to be tested. Me, my brothers, Yaya, and my mom. But here's the bad news. One of my family got the positive case in COVID, which is my stepfather. I don't know how it happened, but he was first. So that's why my mom decided that all of us should be tested. And this is where it all came the bad news. It's not just my stepfather, but now it's gonna include my brother's yaya, which is actually my yaya until now. I know it's a sad day to hear that the people here in this house have a positive result. Now, some of us have negative result. But for the meanest time, we're going to be self-quarantined, whether we are positive or negative. So for those out there who are watching, whether you are positive or negative, please stay at your homes as long as possible. I know that you need to buy food for those who are hungry, but you need to buy as many food that you can buy in the grocery so that you can just eat at home, and for the rest of the people to be safe and sound. I know that there are a million cases already in this country, so please stay at home and take care of yourselves. Now that I've talked about my swab test story and the people who got positive in our house, now let's talk about another issue, which is a house bill. Before this house bill was approved, something happened way before the pandemic. Let's talk about 2013. Now, before this house bill was confirmed or approved, because this has something to do with sports, there's a story. Now, there's this story that one competitor in boxing fought in a fight or in a match. And then after a few fights or a few rounds, he got knocked out, and then, not just knowing that he's knocked out, he actually lost his life during a boxing match. So I think one of the family members were so worried about this person or this athlete that competed in boxing, who died in boxing. And then someone from the family wants to implement a law, or no, not really a law, but a house bill to not let minors compete in full contact sports, whether it's boxing, kickboxing, or MMA. And then in 2014, this was already approved. I know, right? Kind of shocking. Now let us read the House bill. I'm going to read it from here. So this was introduced by Representatives Alfredo A. Garbin Jr. and Elizalde S. Go. It has said that this bill seeks to prohibit the participation of minors in competitive full contact sports such as boxing, mixed martial arts, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, judo, and other forms of full contact karate. This bill prohibits the participation of minors only in full contact sports competition, but regulates their participation in leisure, non-competitive sports, and training. In regulating such sports, parents, guardians, schools, and sports associations are required to undertake the necessary protection for the minors in the training place and in their gears and clothing. Prior to participation in such regulated sports, physical examination and clearance by qualified doctors shall be required. While acknowledging the importance and benefits and the values that can be derived from participating in these sports, this bill also recognizes the paramount need to protect the minors. Such responsibility is imposed on parents, guardians, schools, and sports associations because the minors are incapacitated to give consent, nor can they waive any right of action for injuries inflicted upon them during and in connection with such activities. Now that I read the House bill, there's a problem. It only falls under the full contact sports for minors. That's just for the sports side. But it didn't say that minors can compete in semi-contact sports. So there's a definition of terms in this House bill. So we'll go A and B only. Full contact sports shall mean any sport for which significant physical impact force, whether deliberate or incidental, on players is allowed for within the rules of the game. It includes, but it is not limited to, boxing, mixed martial arts, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, judo, and other forms of full contact karate. Now, there is semi-contact sports in the other hand. Is any sport involving striking and containing physical contact between the combatants, simulating full power techniques which are restricted to limited power. Contact sports which use gears to protect athlete from injury shall be considered a semi-contact sport. Okay, now in semi-contact sports, when it says full power techniques or full blown, when it comes to semi-contact sports, how will you know if it's full blown? We're not quite sure, right? Even though you're either wearing protective gear or not. Now, we're talking about the sports side of combat sports, because this is very different when it comes to self-defense. Self-defense is where actually you really have to defend yourself when it comes to very dangerous situations that you may either have to defend yourself or just accept that you have to give everything you need, but not your life, because it's very hard, right? So in this kind of House bill, it's actually very obvious that the argument could be done from here, because when it comes to full contact sports, it didn't say that minors cannot compete from semi-contact sports. And the thing about martial arts is that there are martial arts that both involve striking and grappling, which is MMA. But in other cases of martial arts like jiu-jitsu, judo or wrestling, those martial arts only involve grappling, no striking. And striking martial arts, which are taekwondo, karate, Muay Thai, Chinese kickboxing, and other forms. So, how I react to this is just kind of ironic for a lot of people who want to do martial arts, and then this House bill just came. It's kind of sad, because if there is a martial art competition before when this pandemic's over, they're just gonna let the seniors compete, whether if it's full contact or semi-contact. And this actually is something dark, that I see something dark in this House bill, that children cannot, or minors in general, cannot compete in combat sports anymore. This House bill is actually letting minors not train martial arts anymore, as if they think martial arts is for killing people, but it's not. Martial arts is about respecting others, showing confidence to others, protecting your family, and respecting them and love them no matter what happens. It's like you need to take a bullet for them. And I want these minors to still continue their training in martial arts, so that in the future they could become strong people and make their mental game better. So that's all I can say now. If you like this video, please like, comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe. So have a nice day ahead of you, and stay safe.